Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Grace and I make a lot of mom and parenthood and pregnancy and adventure kind of videos. It's kind of a mishmash of many things, but thank you for joining me. I'm so thankful that you're here. So I've been gone for a hot second because I did finally have my twins, and I have so many videos that I want to make for you guys, but I needed some time to adjust to being a twin mama. So that is why I've been gone. I finally feel like I am here. I am ready to make videos again. I have sort of a schedule, not really, but sort of a schedule. I feel like a human again, basically is what I'm saying. So I'm back. So today I'm actually going to go back in time and talk to you guys about my third trimester being pregnant with twins. So I made videos for the first trimester and second trimester. I will link those down below, and also they'll probably be in cards up around here. But I wanted to not leave you hanging on that third trimester because she's a doozy, okay? So let's get into it. Okay, so I have all of my notes that I took during the third trimester down on my phone. So if I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at. So just one little tiny bit of hope for you. Now that I am done being pregnant and have had the girls, everything that women say about how like you forget how terrible childbirth is, or in the newborn stage and all that kind of stuff, is super true. So I remember going through the third trimester thinking, how am I going to survive this? But now, a couple months after postpartum, I'm like, oh, it was such a magical time of my life. So if you're having a hard time, if you're currently in your second or third trimester, or first trimester, that's hard too, and you're like, how am I going to survive this? You will, and you'll actually probably look back on it with rose-colored glasses. So just let that be hope. And final thing before I really jump in, I might get a little TMI in this list. I was looking at it and I was like, do I really want to talk about that on the internet? But yes, I'm going to, because if this is your first pregnancy or first twin pregnancy, you really might not know some of these things could be coming. This is all subjective, obviously. Everyone's pregnancy is different. But yeah, some weird stuff happens when you're pregnant. So here we go. No particular order. Here we go. So first off, what I have is most women start to get really, really big in their third trimester. Some women it's the second trimester, but for me, people were like amazed that I was pregnant with twins during the second trimester. They're like, your belly is so small. And then that all changed in the third trimester. All of a sudden it got really big. And so obviously when you have 2 or more babies in there, or even just one large baby, there's not much room for the rest of your organs, especially your lungs. So breathing gets really, really hard. Just like laying on your side to sleep, it feels like it's getting squashed. Going upstairs, oh my gosh, just breathing is difficult. So just get ready for that. There's nothing you could do about it, but you'll also, you'll survive it. It also kind of depends on where your twins might be placed. I had one that was like all up in my rib cage. She was the little one, but she was just nestled in there, and so I didn't breathe super great. It's never like a scary thing. Like I don't want you to think like, oh my gosh, it's gonna feel like I'm drowning or I'm being buried or something like that. No. You definitely can still breathe. It's remarkable how much you have to like think about it sometimes, because you don't really ever think about breathing, right? You're just kind of like, you do it. But with pregnancy, you're aware of it more. Next up, this is where I'm going to jump right into just some TMI. Pain in your pubic bone. Okay, we all love that word, don't we? So obviously having babies is very heavy on your pelvis, your whole pubic bone area. And then all of a sudden it just starts to hurt. And it's not like a constant 24/7 hurt. For me, it was like I would sit down and it would be like, oh, wow, that hurt. Or I'd shift in my sleep or something, and oh, it would hurt. And it's not a terrible pain, I didn't cry or anything, but it's just a weird pain that I had never experienced before, and it's only because there's so much weight on your pelvis and stuff. So I'm sure some women have it worse than me, but it wasn't super pleasant, but you know, it is what it is. Next up, oh my gosh, you guys, this shocked me, is bloating. Okay, I know everyone has told me for years. I know pregnant women complain about bloating. Okay, I get it. I thought they were being dramatic or like, who cares? Bloating is bloating. Oh my gosh, pregnancy bloating is insane. It's insane. You do have to be careful with bloating because that can be a sign of preeclampsia, but also it can just be bloating. For me, it was just bloating. And I'm not just talking about like your, you know, belly or, you know, torso bloats. No. Your face bloats like insane. Looking at pictures of myself near the end of my pregnancy, I'm like, who is that? My fingers, my toes, my ankles, my ears bloated, you guys, like bloating everywhere. I looked in the mirror and I was like, I don't know who she is. Who's she? You know? So don't let that scare you. And for me in particular, I'm going to make a whole video on like the hospital stay and postpartum recovery and stuff like that. But my bloating got insane after I gave birth. Like, it was scary. I thought my skin, was going to rip when I had a big belly. I thought it was really going to rip with some of the bloating that happened for me. So I'll have a whole video and talk about that. And probably show you a terrifying picture of my legs. But yeah, bloating it's for real. Next up, this is a weird one. I'm sure this doesn't affect everybody, but your eyesight can change during pregnancy. I've had LASIK surgery, so I'm supposed to have like perfect eyesight basically, and I had to pay, you know, thousands of dollars to get LASIK. And then my eyes started to change, and things started to look blurry, and especially at night, like driving at night kind of started freaking me out a little bit. I was never like in danger driving or a danger to somebody else, but I started to get to a point with my husband. I was like, I don't think I want to be driving anymore in the evenings, just because it changed so much. Thankfully, it does go back. My eyesight is back to the way it was before the pregnancy, but just don't freak out and don't think, you know, I need to get to the optometrist right now because I can't see. It'll go back, but if your eyesight does change a little bit, it's a result of your pregnancy probably. Next up, this is another super fun one to talk about, and this can hit any time during your pregnancy, but it really, really hit me in the 3rd trimester, and that's acid reflux. Super fun. I had never really had acid reflux before pregnancy, and my husband has suffered from it for his whole life, and so he's always complaining about it, and I was always like, come on, how bad could it be? Oh my gosh, it can be bad. Yeah, it's really no fun. No fun. And so I have all the sympathy in the world for him now. But yeah, I mean, it's obvious, it's the same thing with your lungs. Like, everything is just squished, and so whatever you eat, like, it just tends to come back up. I started vomiting a little bit more again in the 3rd trimester. Like, the 2nd trimester I coasted and I didn't very much, but the 3rd trimester I did a little bit. So that was a contributing factor. There are a couple things that you can do, and so if you start to get it kind of bad, you can look different things up. I took a lot of Tums. I tried to stay away from spicy food, things like that. But acid reflux, it's no joke. Another weird one that I'm sure doesn't affect everybody, but it affected me, is I got carpal tunnel in my fingers, which is insane. It was really quite bothersome, actually. It was one of the ones that I was like, I think this is due to the pregnancy, but I don't know if this is going to be the rest of my life. Like, is this going to go away? And it was really hurting in my finger joints. And I think that was, you know, because of all the bloating, my fingers were massive. And thankfully, it also has completely gone away. It stayed for a little while postpartum. And I remember a few weeks after they were born, I was like, maybe this isn't going anywhere. And then I realized, like, literally just a couple days ago, I was like, oh, it's totally gone. Like I didn't even notice when it went away, but it did. So if you get that, that should probably go away too once the bloating and all the fluid and stuff, things are more balanced in your body again. This is a fun one. This was just a surprise to me. So I don't even know how to describe this. I'm gonna try and not say the word too many times. When I would go to the OB for pretty much my entire pregnancy, except for like that very first, the very first appointment I had since I had twins, they ended up doing a vaginal ultrasound. But otherwise, everything in that area was kind of left alone. Like nobody was looking down there, nothing. And so I was happy about that. Come the third trimester, all of that changed. And it seemed like every single appointment, there was some sort of other swab that had to be taken in that area. Which, I mean, you might be like, you had to give birth, like, who cares? And that's true. Now that I've given birth, like, there's no dignity anymore in that area. But, or mystery. But that was before giving birth, so I mean, I don't think there's many women who like are so excited to like go to the OB and get a pap smear. Like that's not a fun thing to do. But for me, when it got to the third trimester, that happened a lot. So lots of things that they have to test, make sure you're not carrying different things, or if you are carrying, they just want to know. Don't ask me what all those things are because I have forgotten at this point. But just be prepared if you're like me and you are, you know, kind of nervous or modest or self-conscious about any of that kind of stuff, whatever you are, whoever you are. The third trimester, that's probably going to happen more. It probably happens even more in certain cases. And I ended up having a C-section, and that was pretty much planned from the start. So if you aren't doing a C-section or you're planning for a natural birth, then it might happen more, would be my guess. But just mentally prepare yourself for that. Next up, also that happens in the third trimester, is the glucose test. So this is testing for, I can never say it, gestational diabetes, that's it. So, gestational diabetes has nothing to do with how you ate during your pregnancy or anything like that. It has to do with how, hopefully I'm saying this correct, how the placenta breaks down sugars or something like that. And so you have no control over whether you get that or not. With multiples, you obviously have a higher chance of having gestational diabetes. So they have you take a test. So how this test works is they have you choose a very sugary drink that you have to drink within like 9 or 10 minutes. And then like exactly an hour later, then they take some blood and they send it in to be tested. If you don't pass, or if your numbers are a little bit too high, then they'll do a longer 3-hour test, and that will determine whether you have it or not. So I ended up not having it, although I was very shocked because for some reason, just like in my spirit, I felt like I had it. But I ended up not having it. But here's a little plus, or a little helpful encouragement if you end up having it. My mom had it in her second pregnancy, which was my sister. And she said actually it ended up kind of being a blessing because it forced her to eat really healthy. And so she was like, I left the hospital like totally back to normal and back to my pre-baby body weight because I just hadn't been pigging out. Because it does happen a lot, including with me in that last trimester. Oh my gosh, you're just trying to survive. So a lot of people, we munch. I understand, I did it too. So if you get it, it forces you to eat healthier, which is a plus. So anyway, but let me tell you about the actual test itself. Not fun because nobody likes getting blood drawn, but I don't know, people were, it kind of made me scared about it because they were talking about how terrible the drink is that you have to drink. And y'all, it wasn't that bad. It was not that bad. So my OB office had 3 different flavors. You could have an orange, you could have fruit punch, or lemon lime. I ended up going with orange because I happen to like orange soda a lot. And I'm so glad that I did because it literally, do you know those, they're like orange and cream sodas. They're like old-timey in the glass bottles. That is exactly what it tasted like. Exactly. Like I started drinking it and I was like, why are people freaking out? If you enjoy soda of any kind, you're gonna be fine. It's not that hard. Even my OB himself, he was like, oh yeah, it's no fun. They made us drink that when I was in medical school so that we could, you know, sympathize with you guys. Like, it was not that bad. So just choose a flavor that doesn't sound absolutely disgusting and you'll be fine. Almost done, you guys. Next, I just looked at what the bottom of the list is. And that's going to be such a fun note to end on. But let's talk about some tests. Other tests, these are more bodily tests, is NSTs and BPPs. So, BPP is biophysical profile, and they do these pretty much at every single ultrasound appointment once you're in your third trimester, maybe even towards the end of your second trimester. It's a biophysical profile. I don't know if I said that already. That's BPP. And it's basically, while they're doing the ultrasound, they're looking for like 5 different things for the babies to do. And it's stuff like see the baby practice breathing, see the baby wiggle their fingers and toes. It's a couple different things. My babies never had any issue. They always passed with flying colors. There was one time that I think baby A was asleep, and so it took them a while to be able to get her to do the things, but she did. So it's kind of cool actually to watch them do that. And then the other one is NST. I cannot remember what that stands for. Non-stress test. That's it. Non-stress test. So that's basically, they have, for twins, they have 2 monitors, and they basically just get strapped onto your belly, and then you, as mom, have a monitor as well. And it's basically like, what is it called when the machine that measures earthquakes? Is it something Shaw? I want to say rickshaw, but I know it's not rickshaw. Y'all know what I mean. Warshaw? I don't know. Y'all know what I mean. The one that goes beep, 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 like that. So it's basically that, except it is finding the baby's heart rates. And then they have to monitor it for like 20 minutes or something like that. Now, it seems easy enough, but it's actually not that easy because they have to find both of the heartbeats, and the babies move, obviously. So if the baby moves and they lose the heart rate, then they have to re-find it, but they still have to get 20 full minutes, and sometimes it picks up just one baby's heart. It's just the whole thing. So it ends up taking 30, 40 minutes, etc. But you do just kind of get to lay there, chill. Excuse me. You get to chill, watch TV, whatever you want to do, play on your phone. But those happened frequently. I think by near the end, I was having them twice a week. And then actually in the hospital, when I went in for my C-section, while they were prepping me, they had an NST going on just to monitor the babies. So that's fun. Okay, so this is my last one, and this is such a fun one to end on. But y'all, I keep it real. I was really honest with you in that second trimester video about constipation. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. But the opposite happened in the third trimester. I wasn't constipated anymore, thank goodness. But it kind of turned like, I can't believe I'm talking about this on the internet. It went like diarrhea-ish, which apparently is very common. This is why I'm telling you, just so that you are prepared. Apparently it's very common in the third trimester for this to happen. It is so much better than constipation, so I was just like thankful for it, to be totally honest. I would suggest, as long as your doctor's cool with it, just start just taking like stool softeners, because that helped to get through the constipation. And then postpartum poops are a thing, and they're not fun for most people, but I actually did not have a terrible time because I had been taking stool softeners. So Stool softeners, I think, across the board are pretty much totally safe for pregnancy. You know, check with your doctor or ask questions about that. But that might be a good thing to jump on before it's too late, you know? Okay, so that is all that I have to talk about in the 3rd trimester. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment down below. I love talking about this. I love reminiscing, all that kind of stuff. So in the coming weeks, I have some more hospital and birth and recovery, and also some traveling videos, because we've been doing a lot of hiking and getting outdoors with our girls, and so we've been taking you guys along with us. So those will be coming out. I don't know the order that I'm gonna put things out yet. I can't think that far ahead. Y'all, mom brain is a real thing. Okay, that's all that I have for you. Thank you so much. If you've made it this far, way to go. Air high five. Here's a virtual cookie. I will see you guys in the next one.